There we are. All done.
Welcome to episode 11.2, where we will talk about the semifinals of the championship summer split,
Yes.
and then give our predictions of the finals of the summer split, along with the three teams we think are going to make it to Worlds.
So basically, predict the gauntlet as well.
Yeah. No. It depends if you predict SKT. I mean, I guess you have to predict the Gauntlet as well, but I think the Gauntlet's pretty easy
Well, the
to
Gauntlet
predict,
is,
in my
yeah.
opinion.
Yeah,
So
you
I
still
think
believe in
someone's gonna have
Najin, but
Najin's plan.
Oh wait, no, it is
No.
easy to predict. Now you're going to stop it, right? Yeah, I forgot. that.
Janair's gonna
Yeah.
beat Najin. Janair's the new Najin. No, so here it's me, Pinata1, and Go Sick Boy, Sam, and Peter. And where do you guys want to begin on the first? You want to just start off with like what your thoughts on the full thing is, or start with just the first game,
Nice.
Sudu versus KT?
Just the full series to start with, I guess.
Seems good.
Okay. I thought it was a very impressive series either way, and I think both teams showed they both are most likely going to make it to the final, or make it to champions.
I thought this was
World
a
champion.
series
World
where
champion,
I wouldn't have been mad to see either team in the final. I think both teams are going to give SKT a good go at least. Both teams showed strengths in different areas and showed that they're critically a different team, but also that both teams, I would say, sorry, too many bitches on my phone. Played, but both teams had a lot of like depth to them and whatnot. But also for both teams, there's enough of difference to make it interesting. There was enough similarities to mean that it wasn't always the same win conditions for either team in either game, really. And I think we saw some really high-level team fighting, strategical decisioning, and some really interesting innovative picks as well. I think.
Yeah,
And really good phasing as well. Draft phases in this game. In
the
the series.
draft phases, yeah. It was really impressive. You saw like constantly going back and forth, adapting throughout the series. Something you really like enjoy from Best of 5, like the adaptability from both teams to try and outpick each other and figure it out. And then it ends the glorious blind pick of Korea in Game 5.
Yeah.
Where all that shit.
Oh, the greatest game ever. I'll have to get when that comes up. I will be pulling out
Okay, I know.
an object because Lulu is the greatest.
Yeah, was sick.
I was very impressed with Ku to actually play. Like, I mean, they beat Najin pretty well with a nice little pick, and then Najin kind of falling apart a little bit in the third game. Then they beat CJ impressively 3-0, but I was like, oh, that was really kind of picks and bans.
Yeah,
I thought it had a lot more to play in it than the actual gameplay. They really forced Coco onto champions that he couldn't really carry with, and then make
Basically,
camp
stop
the
to
fuck out of
picks,
them.
yeah.
Yeah, that helped a lot. Yeah, too.
Can't 1v9 on Twisted Fate, can you, Coco?
No,
Bit hard.
not when you're 07 and 2.
Yeah.
Not when you're ganked all the fucking time. But this game, this series, they really showed that they have turned it around, and they look like, I don't know if they're fully into this spring split where they were really dominant throughout the entire thing, but they certainly have shown that they're contending. And what's more impressive is that it's the best of 5, and it's the playoffs where their actual things actually matter.
Yeah.
It's not just regular season.
They showed us a steady level. They can always try and acquire with enough strats and stuff. I think.
And the scariest part.
Well, let's go. Right.
I'm saying the scariest part though is some of KT's play was a bit shaky.
Yeah, it was a bit
Like, it
shaky. But yeah, they had less. Like they hadn't had to play in a while. So for them, like Kua already got all the warming up from the previous 2 series, and they were the new. I think KT, like, they kind of played the best of 4 in a weirdest way, because game 1 was like a complete train wreck for them. But then they said like, alright, let's just surrender this. They tried very hard a couple of times to try and still come back, but every time it was just like, even when they had the perfect combo, like they would ace, like it was perfect ace. So it was like, yeah, okay, let's not try this. Let's just surrender and get back next game. Like,
After game 1, I was like, well, this series is over.
No, I definitely
See you in the
didn't think
finals,
so.
cool. Like,
No, I was like, yeah, KT is just gonna. This was also like it really started really bad for KT. It was the main reason. Like someday they got like solo kill by Smap, which shouldn't have happened. Like, 'cause he's playing Lulu, just fucking play some safe, man. Just you don't have to die there. And then every lane was just getting a bit overplayed, and then the Ashe was annoying them a lot. So after I thought it was gonna go better, and it did for them. even though they had a really they fucked it up in the draft phase game 4. Other than that, they had both teams had like insanely good draft phases and adaptive play. But I think you see how KT is way more diverse in their champion pool and stuff. Like this best of was an actual battle between who gets what, and also like how the bot lane roams and the support roams. That was also very entertaining. The whole series was who's gonna get the first roam, and that often set up the pace of the rest of the game. Like, was it Gorilla who was being dominating with roams, or was it Peekaboo? It was really a great support battle the entire series, which I enjoyed because you don't see that a lot these days.
Yeah, I would definitely say like Ku Tigers felt like somebody like how many times can you reinvent the wheel? You know what I mean? Like how many times can they take the same like couple of champions each and like bust out something new or innovative with it? Or how many times can they bait you into getting all their strong champions, that kind of thing? KT felt a lot more like you just beat us with like all these champions. Okay, we'll pick those champions against you, kind of thing. That's one way of banning them out against you. Like, I mean, you could just have a look at like Smeb has a fairly decent champion pool on Ku Tigers, but like everyone else, well, he has a pretty good actually champion pool. But what did Prey play in the series? He played Ashe, Kog'Maw.
A lot of Ashe. No.
Did you play with Ashe?
Ashe,
Prey. You
Kog'Maw.
said Prey. No.
Vayne.
Vayne, yeah.
And then Kog'Maw.
Yeah.
So 3 Kog'Maw, 1 Vayne, 1 Ashe.
He didn't really look great on the Vayne. I mean, he played well, but he wasn't like.
Yeah, he was not the reason they won. No, that's for sure.
No, exactly. Like so. Yeah, it was. He generally just was like he's always got like his pocket pick of Ashe, which is kind of like he's the one that's really brought that back, I think. And then like I don't know, Oki was playing at the same time, and Fury obviously played it before anyone did. But he's the one who's really kind of made everyone think actually this champion's like really fucking legit. Everyone else makes it look kind of bad, I think.
Well, it makes it legit in the right way with a pick hump because that's the only way it's good.
Yeah, it's a very Ku Tigers style champion.
That's true. But yeah, his Kog'Maw, like he's still like he's not like great anymore. It's a lot harder to make that Juggernaut work in the way they're drafting. It requires a lot more of him being good at positioning because there was a lot less Lulu or like more mobility to keep him alive, less Janna and stuff. So they hurt him. Yeah, because they could KT handled the Kog'Maw very well like in all the games. They didn't have so much problems with Brace Kog'Maw.
Prey lost every game he played Kog'Maw on. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
We'll get to that later. I think we should start.
Maybe we should have seen a Lucian now. Could have maybe actually not been bad.
Yeah, but again, like neither of them are really Lucian players, are they?
Well, Prey can play Lucian. That's not a thing. Like he has played it a lot like, in spring and then summer as well now. Just to beat Najin, he had to play it all every time. So.
Yeah, but I still don't think like Prey. I think Prey plays Lucian as a takeaway from the other team.
No, he does.
I'd just like to point out like that. A good bit of salvation when Monte Cristo was like, no, I think Prey will want the Lucian. Like, I think Prey does like the Lucian. In the series against CJ, it was like Prey. He's played like 8 games now, mate. I played a single game of Lucian, like, unless he's playing against OQ. Guy doesn't like Lucian. Like Monte Cristo, get over it. But anyway, I wanted to bash on casters, even though casters aren't like.
Now, so game 1 we saw was that 1, 2, 3 mid lane bans, 280 carries and Shen, and then we saw a pretty stompy game come out of Ku. As Peter said, Lulu killed Gnar 1v1, which was ridiculous, and then it only went downhill from there. Where I think it was. Score tried to gank top lane to get Gnar back in, and it didn't work, and then he pretty much didn't gank again.
Yeah, it was very, very low. Plus, they forced it 2v2, so Score was... Peekaboo was pretty locked as well, so... That was, like, the game afterwards, Peekaboo was, like, roaming and stuff, but I get that game, it was really not, and then... Like, everything was so held up, and then lost true laning phase already, and then they just got the snowball with Ashe arrows, and... Diana was never big enough to do much, but she tried. But yeah, Diana's pretty shit into Braum because you go in and you instantly get stunned by his ult or you get hit by the passive and like against another support it might have worked, but Braum just shuts you down so hard.
Were you guys surprised with the Lulu top and Rise mid instead of the Rise top and Lulu mid?
I think KT was surprised by that.
Yeah, I actually like
That's
that.
what I mean. Do you think that was the surprising pick that caught them off
Yeah,
guard?
especially when you consider the players who were playing those champions. Like, when you think of like
Whoa.
Lulu, like
Smeb.
I mean, obviously Smeb has had a lot of success on Lulu in the
Yeah.
past, and stuff like that.
So
but,
was Kuro too. Yeah.
yeah, but Smeb is traditionally, like a principal carry of Ku Tigers. So for him to go on a supportive champion and for Kuro to go on the carry champion is, surprising at least for a
I
team.
think they didn't really care, but it was just like, yeah, this is like against Nard, Lulu is way better, and against Yana, the Rise is better. I mean, respectively, it's a much safer way to do it. Like the Rise
One of
can spam on, but
One of my favorite things to do in any draft phase is to pick two flex pick solo laners, because then you can just totally mind game the opposition. Like, I absolutely love flex pick solo laners.
like,
and-
that was really good use of it, and yeah, that helped him. But I also am not a fan of Rise top anyway. It's hard to pull off. I'm just not a fan of Rise anyway. But in mid lane, it's a lot safer because you have an extra summoner and it's just shorter lane. So it was the flex pick would just make good because Rise into Nard doesn't seem very safe right now. You would just get camped and die.
No, exactly.
It was good drafting from Kuda. Mind games, and then they had to deal with it, and they didn't handle
And they
it very
snowballed
well.
so out of control
Yeah,
too.
that's.
Hojin actually did a lot of things, which was surprising, and Scory did not do a lot of things he needed to do.
No, he was. He did not play that Elise particularly well in that game.
Don't get more.
Yeah.
Is there much more to say? I mean, Nagne pulled out the Diana, and it was definitely not a great performance.
Yeah, but he kind of turned that around in that series. I think the issue was that, like, if you just look at like the way the ban phase goes out, like sort of chunk by chunk. So Ku ban Azir, and they banned Cassiopeia, which I didn't really understand because I don't think I've seen Nagne play Cassiopeia in a long time, and he wasn't great when he played it. But like they first picked the Lulu, so KT like rushed to pick the Cogmore away from Ku, so like stop their like they think it's a Juggermore pick, and then they take the Elise. So Ku respond with Rek'Sai, and they take the Ashe, which is a big power pick throughout the series. Really, I mean, it had 100% win rate, and then KT respond with like try and take away Gorilla's Alistair, and they try and take the Diana because they think that. I mean, I guess I'm not quite sure why the Diana pick was picked here. If I'm to be totally honest with you, I think it was a really like. I mean, I think Diana's like a good champion, but in this so far, based on the information they had, it was really weird.
I think they. Yeah, no. Maybe just expected Victor anyway, so they were like, we want to counter pick top lane. And that's weird because they had Lulu already. I don't know. Maybe actually really expected Lulu mid for some reason, and they thought it was an okay matchup. So
Yeah,
I thought it was Lulu mid too. I thought you put Kuro on Lulu mid and you let Smeb have the more of a carry, but as the final Nair was picked, I'm like, ooh, that's pretty good. I think they're gonna like. As it was swapping, I was thinking to myself, like, oh, where are they gonna go? And
yeah, and it was
definitely turned out for the best.
it was pretty crucial in this game. Like the one like sort of lane bully they had, Gnar didn't lose lane because like Diana and Cogmore are both hyper carries, and like Gnar lost lane. So like once Gnar like lost the lane, like there was no like mid game power for KT, so they just kind of rolled over because what are KT good at? They're good at early game aggression, and in this game they had no early game aggression because they limited themselves to champion picks, and then it got to the mid game and they had nothing there as well, and they fell behind the early games against Ku, which is like a death sentence for KT. So it's game over basically.
yeah, I think Sunday didn't want to play against Lulu or something, so he wanted to like make sure you got last pick. I know. To be fair, it was not smart when they were playing on red side to get you should wait with your mid laner so to see where you play against. I guess they wanted to actually get Sunday more favorable lane, so like Nagne you can just handle yourself. But yeah, that went down the drain afterwards.
Especially in these two teams where both Nagne and Kuro are such massive facilitators for
They're top
like,
laners. So.
their top laners. Like, I think that like Nagne just kind of like sort of sandbagged him because when he picks Diana into Rise, he's like, oh, I don't outscale you, and I can't push against you,
Boris
and I
was
can't.
picked, right?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. But when he picked, like, even picking Diana into Lulu, like, oh, I wouldn't be able to like push the lane, so I wouldn't be able to like actually roam anything, and I just get poked out the whole entire time. Like, I don't really understand what he was thinking. Oh, and if I try and all in, you just ult yourself and like whimsy away, and then just start smashing my face in with glitter. Like, I don't know, like it was really weird.
I think they
I
just
can't get over
wanted
that
like
brand.
aggression because like Diana Elise is like really strong in just burst damage, so they wanted to be like the aggressive kind in the mid game. But yeah, kind of a problem if you die so much early game, like before you even get to the like first dragon fights and stuff. Yeah. It was just like it was unfortunate, and then KT like they were not in the game one. Like somebody got killed. Peekaboo didn't get to roam decently. Scored did pretty much nothing, which is also not something we expect from him. So yeah.
I also don't get in this composition who's like how the Cogmore pick's going to work. Like, who are they going to protect? Like, who's going to protect Cogmore? You know what I mean?
They
Like,
just want to damage. That's the point. So you need to pick some hyper carry because Diana is not enough for team fighting and stuff. And Nars is also you need some extra damage. So they had to pick Tristana or Kog'Maw. Like, I think Tristana was probably open right, but I don't think Arrow plays it a lot. It's not really that common pick in Korea at the moment. So
yeah,
they all went for the Kog'Maw. Which was fine, but it's just like they got way too far behind, and yeah, sure and stuff.
you can tell Tristana's not a favourable pick in Korea right now because OQ's not playing Tristana and he's like a Tristana main, like so.
Exactly.
Well, Korean lane swap is completely different than LCS lane swap, where they don't aggressively push down turrets to try and take the early gold. They usually try and freeze someone out.
Yeah, it's just much more about starving than about sort of trying to get as much resources as possible. Yeah. And like the jungler, there's a lot more mind games that goes on with junglers and support players as well. So
yeah, you don't really. I don't really recall the last time I've seen like a consistently teams do the 3 or 4 man push bot or top and take the turrets.
They lane swap to get their AD carry safe, and then so they free up the support to roam. That's how they always play lane swap to get deep vision and just try and gank mid lane a lot or top lane, but less in the same way. Yeah, Korean lane swap is a lot different than any other lane swap right now. Different style.
Any more thoughts on game 1?
It was simple. I like that KT they tried their bet. Like they tried one last time. Like even though they only got ace twice before.
Oh yeah.
They tried one last time, got their full com off, but killed nobody. It's like yeah, okay, that's done, boys. Surrender.
Yeah.
Like. I always respect a team who surrenders when they know it's over. You know what I mean? Like it's something like I think is kind of an underrated thing because it just means you get onto the next game quicker as well, but it also protects your players' mentality as well.
Yeah, it's much like that.
Because it's the coaches so much who are going to decide pick and ban and stuff like that. Like KT knew what they did wrong. They gave it one last shot. It failed miserably. It's like let's just get on to the next game then. And I was like, oh yeah, props to you for that. That's a winning mentality. I think when you just know when to cut your losses.
Game 1,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the big thing is, it was they're down 1-0. Okay, that's not the worst thing that could happen. So, move on. So game 2, we still had the Diana pick late, but we saw pretty much same bans except Lulu out for Fizz. Oh, Vayne wasn't banned either. Vayne was swapped for Rise and Lulu. Yeah, Rise and Lulu went out for KT bans. Ku banned the same 3 champions, and Kalista was still taken out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Kalista, definitely after what played against CJ, they were like, let's maybe not do that. Yeah, Kalista just can still a high ban in Korea, everywhere. It's so dangerous.
She was banned in every single game.
Probably.
And then she wasn't picked
She's
in
always
game 5
banned.
for some reason. But
Yeah. That's the same thing you said. The previous blind pick was like, what? You could have picked Kalista. And,
Double Ash.
Or she can just take over a game so well. I think the people are just afraid of. I guess Ash into Kalista is pretty good.
It's not even. It's okay, but it's not amazing because you can do so much more shit with Kalista that you can outplay. You have way more
she has
ways to win.
permanent slow.
Okay, so it's perfect slow, but your Kalista just ults your face. Just gets. Yeah, it's so good saving your support and stuff. It's disgusting. And she has way more damage than Ash anyway.
Also, who doesn't want to see Callista versus Callista? Like, that's the match I'm looking forward to seeing. Like,
Oh, I was hoping for Lee Sin, Callista, and like Victor, or Azir, and just seeing the awful like Azirs, like Lee Sin's kicking each other, and then the Azirs kicking, like pushing them back in.
Oh god, I'm so glad we didn't see a 0-0.
we'll get onto that blind pick later on because that's funny as anything. But
So
No,
we
this
saw, how did this start off with? Was this the early Rome mid by Peekaboo?
Yeah, I think it was Peekaboo, and like he got like Nagme for had like pretty hard. And this game I mostly remember they got really good way in snowballing and had a lot of split push pressure with Diana and stuff with the Nashers. And then they tried to team fight with the Nashers Diana, and even though they were like super far ahead, like totally fucking failed.
Oh, yeah.
And then like they had the fucking backdoor to still win the game, which was oh my god, because they were throwing that game super hard. The only thing they had to do was constantly keep split pushing, and they would win easily. And then it was like, oh, let's start team fighting, boys.
yeah.
No, that was not a smart idea. That was not a fucking smart idea.
Okay, it was a really strong adaptation by KT because KT were like, right, what were the problem? What went wrong with game one? The solo lanes. Okay, let's change the solo lanes. So let's just take out both the solo lanes they picked in the last game. Let's give ourselves more of a mid-game power with Corki over the Kog'Maw. So they didn't mind giving the Kog'Maw to Ku Tigers, and then they picked like sort of winning lanes in this match, really, except for Diana versus Victor, which is kind of equal. I think maybe it's favoured in the Victor, but
because you have TP, it's fine.
Because you can just keep TPing back to the lane. So yeah, it was a good adaptation from KT. Like they definitely realised their win conditions. I will say I wasn't keen on picking Rumble into Fizz. I really don't get why you would do that, but other than that, I think the game was pretty good overall.
Yeah, no, it's risky pick for sure.
Well, I don't think you'd want to pick Maokai or Malphite in the Fizz either.
Yeah, but Smeb can play a lot of things that aren't Maokai, Malphite, and Rumble.
You can play Nautilus into thing. I guess I really want the AoE.
Could have played Riven. Where was the Riven? Give me the Riven.
The Riven interface is, it's winnable, for sure. It's a pure skill matchup there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Rumble pick was
kind
a
of
bit weird.
pick.
That was really weird, because Fizz is a common counter pick against Rumble.
Yeah, so it was like Smeb kind of counterpicked himself.
Yeah.
Which was what annoys me as well is generally in a Ku Tigers draft, Smeb gets like his champion so early picked, so he rarely gets like the chance to kind of pick himself into a winning matchup, and then the one chance he gets, he picks himself into a losing matchup. It's like
not the best draft for Kuder, no.
No, like I feel like I was saying it like about like a month ago that I think Rumble's kind of overrated in Korean drafts, and I still think that now, but Rumble's even fallen off even more now, kind of thing. Like,
don't worry, he'll disappear after 5.16.
Probably.
That bolt. But yeah, let's talk about the ending. Holy crap! Like,
oh god.
Sub 100 HP on Diana to survive the Rumble, and then Alistar couldn't make it through the shields.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed that like Gorilla didn't just buy loads of AP and just try to like one shot him or something. Like, I think he was a bit more.
You don't think about that when you're defending. You're like, oh shit, I have to keep him away from the Nexus, and you just go. Like,
yeah, like I mean, I understand the mentality because if you build full AP on an Alistar, and even if you manage to defend the Diana, like they were still really far down. Like they had no Nexus turrets and an open Nexus, and like was it either like one or two inhibitors down? Like
two,
and then you've got two, and then you've got like a full AP Alistar. Like, how are we going to win this game?
Yeah,
like,
and we just die every team.
Oh, my Alistar has just given up 4,000 gold. Oh, he could go in and do a combo and like hurt somebody.
I think the only way he actually could have killed her is if he had just weighed out the shield, but he constantly tried to break it, so it got the second layer, and then by the time the second layer broke, the cooldown was refreshed. If he had tried to wait it out, he could have maybe burst it down, but yeah. Also, you don't think about it in the game, you're just like, I'm just gonna go for it, but yeah, the fucking cooldown shield refreshes so fast. So yeah.
It was definitely weird by Ku Tigers to try and send back the Alistar over sending back anyone else.
They tried to send back everybody, but they were kind of the recalls got cancelled constantly, and Alistar is the only one who managed to actually be able to recall. That's the point.
See, if I were them, I would have had a few more people because they had Smeb TP hours go out. I would have had just like the Rek'Sai and Gorilla or Rek'Sai and Kuro just walk at them and sacrifice their life.
Yeah, that's the point. Gorilla should have just tried to install the rest so they couldn't get, so that his team could have recalls.
That's what I mean. Like he just went in the bush and recalled, and then the other team members ran at them. When in reality, like Cogmore should have like ran off, and then like, cause you think about how much crowd control and Alistair's got and how much ability it's got to like cover your escape. Like
that's the point.
You know, like but then the problem is with like when you get backdoored like that and like somebody like. The game was really over when Smeb lost that 1v1. Again, goes back to the Rumble pick and why he shouldn't have picked a Rumble. If he picked Riven, probably would have won that 1v1. Just saying, Smeb, play Riven.
I'm not
come
so
on,
sure.
give me the Riven. I like watching you play Riven. Just pick Riven.
Smeb should have played more Riven. That's true.
Yeah, like if he'd like as soon as Smeb lost that 1v1 because he kind of misplayed it in the sense that he Zhonyaed at the complete wrong time. Like he overheated, then Zhonyaed. Like. You know, like you Zhonya's out the overheat surely, or you try not to overheat. You know, anyway, like by fucking up that 1v1, like as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, this game's probably over. Like,
yeah, but to be fair to KT, like they deserved to win that game if they had just like not fucked up.
I don't know. They kept team fighting.
Yeah, well, I mean that was like
Diana,
just like Nugget was like, yeah, we're ahead, let's go in, and he had a good moonfall, but there is no follow up damage. There's Corki. That's it. Corki's not gonna do that much AoE damage. I mean, he has AoE damage, but it's not like he can fucking kill them all with just melt all the tanks. And if you jump in, you're gonna die, and you're the main damage threat on your team. Really, you're gonna do way more damage than the Corki is gonna do. Like.
Yeah.
And Fizz is also not a team fighter, so that's like they don't get it. No, it's like if you had the Rumble, you say, okay, yeah, Moonfall, and the Equalizer comes on top of 4 people, team fight 1. But yeah, if you jump in and instantly Hourglass and there's no follow up, then. Yeah, that team fight is going nowhere. And yeah, they should never have even started team fighting. And at that point, they lost the pressure. So they got pressured in by the Kog'Maw and...
Yeah, it's safe to say that Coup Tigers are better at team fighting than KT. Like, they definitely just showed that throughout the series. Like, they have, you know, just like maybe the best team fighting team in Korea.
They had no problem though.
Yeah, but like they always pick for team fighting. Yeah. Like I always like in a sense they're like QG, if QG was a smart team who understood win conditions and how to win games outside of just out team fighting. So that's like the Coup Tigers double threat. You know, they'll either kick the shit out of you in a team fight, or they'll like totally mind game you and like just kind of play the map much better than you can as well. Like that's their kind of double threat. 1 second.
The answers.
Oh. I wonder what hamster. If it's OQ or Gorilla.
Oh yeah,
just have to shut OQ up.
Right, OQ.
Yeah, I don't know. I was very surprised that KT continued to take team fights with this instead of really just going to swapping out one of their red trinkets for another yellow and just dumping wards everywhere. Yeah. Just put another upgraded greater stealth one on Arrow and just litter with wards and make picks, because if they had a 4v5 they could take a team fight, but it was the 5v5s. It was clear that they didn't have a team fight comp built for that or even itemized for it.
No, because you can go team fight but then you have to build for burst. You can go in, deal a shit ton of damage your first rotation with spells, Hourglass, and then another one with your stack gradation, but with Nashor's you have to auto attack.
Yeah, like Nine would die. He died at one time in just the Gorilla's knockup. Yeah. That was ridiculous.
It's not
how quick he went down.
It's pretty shit to try and team fight with Diana against Alistar with Nashor's. It's not work.
Yeah, you have to stick out of the CC for going in.
It was weird. Like KT understood their win conditions in terms of the items they built and the champion comp like
in the beginning,
they constructed, but they didn't understand their win conditions and like how to actually execute it. It's like they were doing everything right, like back end, but like front end they were fucking it up. Like we've got a team comp that's great at 1-3-1 split pushing and good at picking and good at picks and stuff like that. Let's team fight them out in the open over and over and over again. Like, oh. And then the one time Nagane goes back to split pushing, they win the game.
Yeah, they had to. They finally realized, like, we should not team fight. Well, they couldn't win team fights. They already lost like 3 in a row. So yeah, they had to avoid the Kog'Maw and try to sign backdoor to the pressure they got. With the open
Anything else to say about game 2?
Game 2 was almost a huge throw. Holy shit.
Oh yeah.
Kuro had a really good game, I think, despite his team kind of falling like down around him. Like he played really, really good.
Yeah, his Victor is good.
Like his Victor is so good. Like I don't care what anyone says. Like he's his Victor is legit as fuck. Like the 2 champions, I think he's really, really legit on are Victor and now Yasuo, even though that wasn't good a while ago. But we didn't see him play Yasuo, so like it just left with Victor as his legit as fuck pick, I think.
No, it is. But Katie doesn't really fear it, which is a bold statement of them. But yeah, they handle his Victor well, like even before in the regular season as well. They don't care, which is good. They don't have to waste bans on it. Yeah, they didn't lose to it though in game 4. But yeah, there was different reasons to be honest.
Oh, moving on to 3, we had another KT victory. This time it was a very, I would say, pretty long game. Even though it felt much longer, even though it wasn't much longer than the second game. It was only 4 minutes longer. It felt so much longer. And ridiculous amounts of CS on Sunday's Riven and Nagne's Azir.
Over 500.
Almost doubling the CS on Smeb, who once again played Rumble and lost.
Yeah, the Rumble picks. Oh god. You know it's gonna happen. You know that the Riven is gonna come or Fizz. Like, I don't. Well, Fizz was probably banned that game, I guess. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Fizz was banned by the Q Tigers. So this time, KT banned Ryze, Braum, and Shen, and the Q Tigers banned Kalista, Lulu, and Fizz. Now, I think that Q Tigers draft phase in this game was actually pretty bad. Like, I'm actually.
Yes,
like,
it sounds like. Why do you even ban the Lulu yourself?
Like, first off, like, why would you ban the Kalista? Like, I mean, I can understand you not wanting, like, KT to get it, but in the first game where you had the first pick, KT banned away the Kalista on, like, as their second ban. So it's obvious that KT, like, in my mind, I'd be like, well, KT aren't that bothered about the Kalista. Like, they're more worried about us getting the Kalista than them getting the Kalista, because they ban it when they've got the opportunity to, like, pick it, you know? So why would they ban the Kalista, especially given the fact that they had the first pick as well? And yeah, they didn't have the first pick. Sorry, but
yeah, I didn't know. But yeah, if they're a red side, they just ban it. It's normal.
Yeah,
you ban Kalista on red side too. Blue side can't first pick Kalista. That's not a normal ban. The Lulu was a bit weirder though.
It just for me, I can't see Arrow playing Kalista and like kind of wrecking with it. So
it's more the fact what your support can do with it. Like you don't have to do much. As long as you know how to play it, it's fine. Like, you don't even have to be really good.
I think people are more just afraid of if you get a Kalista going, it kind of just can completely take over a game. It's one of the, I wouldn't say last champions that can do it, but it's one champion that can
definitely from
really do it.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
And then Ku banned away the Fizz, which was smart in a sense, but then the only reason they lost to the Fizz in game 2 was because they drafted poorly against it. In game 3, and then so KT first picked the Gragas, which is smart. Then Ku responded with Alistair Kog'Maw. Again, they go for an early Kog'Maw pick, something I've never liked because of how I actually think Kog'Maw is quite a situational ADC.
Yeah, I don't like this first picks because you can always pick Corki and do it and have a way stronger mid game and just win over that.
Yeah. and then what? Like KT pick Janna Vayne, which is like quite a legit 2v2, I think, especially when you think of like its ability, like because it kind of makes up for a lot of Vayne's weaknesses and like really allows you to properly protect the Vayne.
Janna keeps everything safe.
So Ku Tigers respond with Lee Sin Rumble. And then what? That just leaves KT open. They pick Azir Riven, and then Ku respond with a Varus pick. That like, so if you were going, I don't know, like, it was
the way they just picked the Rumble so blindly is they themselves it started with the fucking Riven into the Rumble counter pick matchups with Smap, and they know somebody is a Riven player because they both have a fucking Pentacle Riven this season. Like, why would you pick the Rumble again? Yeah, Fizz is banned. Well, Riven is open, and we know what Korea likes to do against Rumble is take Riven into it.
Yeah, because it's a matchup that's very like because the Riven could just get on the Rumble and then just make it awkward for him to do his shit. So and if you drop your equalizer, he just jumps out of it like just hop. So
the moment that she gets ahead, like the Rumble just falls behind so much, and you have shitty itemization. She kind of have to go hourglass, but Rumbles want to go their hunting guys and the sorcerer shoes before anything else. So it's like so fucking bad matchup, and then the blind pick after already lost. It was bad. It was really bad. And it's also like the problem here is though for Ku, it's like Kuro doesn't play Azir, so KT didn't even have to prioritize Azir. They was like, oh yeah, Azir. Like normally you should have a first pick Azir, but because you didn't know Kuro doesn't play it, Azir wasn't banned, and now it just gets the last rotated just because Ku is not gonna pick it. There's 0 and 6 on it or something like that. So, yeah.
Like this game, I think really Ku really dropped the ball and it really showed a lot of Ku Tiger's weaknesses, which is why it's weird that it went on for as long as it did. But hey,
they had so much wave clear.
Yeah, the wave clear was insane though.
I was just very surprised to see Ku, after they saw the Riven, Azir, and Gragas, pick a secondary champion that is very immobile. With the Varus. I mean, it's a pretty good matchup against Azir, and you can poke him, and it just.
I think they were already locked. They were locked into that from the beginning because they knew like, alright, we left the Azir open, so there's like almost 100% sure because Azir is such a strong pick right now, and because they can pick it themselves. I don't know why that's amazing. They weren't going to pick it themselves. They were already thinking we want Varus, so they wanted to secure the Rumble. I think, which is like weird. I think it's because problem is if you don't secure the Rumble, then you pick Varus first, then they can pick the Rumble away, and then you have a shit comp with no magic damage because you have no other actual AP top laner with damage like Lulu, but that's not you don't run Lulu with Varus comps with poke comps. So yeah, I mean they were tunneled too much on their Varus comp, which they had the Varus comp ready to counter the Azir. But then they just left the counter matchup over top lane, which was like, you just easily pick Riven into it and win.
I don't think they played too terribly considering the gigantic CS difference, but there was times where Kuro was ulted into the team and fucking miraculously survived somehow, which was shocking to see. But even with all of those, those lucky, the luck given to them, they still could not just overcome them. And it was very weird to see how low kill the game was, and yet how long it was.
KT drafted it like Gragas, Vayne, Azir is like one of this is super sick comp in this meta right now because you can kill anything. Like you have 2 hyper carries, you have Gragas to enable your Vayne to just get the 1v1s and stuff, and you have Azir to just as well block people away in team fights and just zone like hell. So Vayne can just clean up everything. It's like we can't really beat that, and then they also counter pick themselves the whole time. Cool, so not picked, but they just left stuff open. They blind picked stuff, so KT even got the counter pick in top lane. So at that point, Ku had that little chance with that draft. I know. Then they immediately learned from that the bad Azir again game 4 because do not want to give Azir up. Just.
Yeah, you can't give it up if you can't play it.
Yeah, that's
and if you especially when your plan going into it is that bad, because KT just picks so many displacements. So you pick the Gragas, you pick the Vayne, and you pick the Azir. Like you could just ping pong the fuck out of somebody with that comp. Like all they were missing. Oh, and they picked the Janna as well in game 3. So and then you've just got a Riven just to fucking run rampant. Like everyone can knock somebody back except for the Riven, who just runs riot throughout your entire team. And then also the other part as well is I can't get over how bad they fucked up the top lane matchup, which is where really both these teams are top lane focused teams, like a lot of Korean teams are these days. It was just bad. It was just bad.
Yeah, these two teams are really heavily top lane, where if you can get that top laner going, they can take over the game.
Yeah.
But you can't do that when you counter pick yourself.
But you can't take over the game as Rumble and you're playing against Riven or Fizz. Like, that's not going to fucking take over anything. You know, it's
No,
definitely.
Rumble Party was bad in the first 2 games.
And what was kind of annoying was, like, Ku Tigers have shown themselves to be a team that has really, like, against CJ Entus and against Najin, they showed themselves to have really good adaptivity in a draft phase and be capable of, like, you know, working out win conditions really well. And I've praised some of their, like, amazing draft phases, and even their draft phase in Game 1 from Ku Tigers was pretty legit as well.
That was very smart.
But both these draft phases in Game 2 and Game 3, the 2 games they really lost were so bad, like, on their part. Like, that wasn't like KT, like, drafting really well. I mean, the KT drafted smart, and they definitely, like, had a good read on the Ku Tigers. Especially, like, they really learned after Game 1, but I don't know, it was weird.
KT was able to see what they were picking and then adapt to it in the pick ban, but they didn't have a significant, like, we're just going to play this comp and destroy you with it.
Not exactly, no. Well, I think they prepared to Vayne comp, that's why they wanted the Gragas so early. Pick the Vayne.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you pick Gragas, yeah, the Vayne, because you can just isolate one person and fucking murder them so quickly.
Yeah, so good.
But it was a pretty shaky game, definitely by Ku.
And again, Ku Tigers pick Cogmore, and you lose with Cogmore. Like, the 2 champions that really fucked up this entire series for Ku Tigers was Rumble and Cogmore. Those were the 2 champions. They really, really fucked them entire.
Those are like champions they had really good success with in spring. That's...
Yeah, and I still think that Ku Tigers should run Cogmore and Rumble, but in specific situations.
Yeah.
Stop just going to it as your default champion. Like,
blind picking it's too much.
Yeah,
you really need to hide
blind
one of those.
picking it into poor matchups. Like, you know, it's just. In Game 2, they picked both of them into a bad. No, they blind picked both of them in Game 2, and then in Game 3, like, they picked the Rumble into a bad match.
Other way around.
Yeah, other way around. Game 2, you pick the Rumble into a bad matchup. Game 3, you blind pick both of them. Like,
yeah, I mean they already picked it against Gragas, which is really good because Gragas is so good against low mobility champions. You can just knock them into your team. Yeah, it was a bit of tunnel vision, which thankfully
that was the problem as well. Like, with this game, and why, like, so, like, Rumble, if you knock him into your team, like, I mean, he can Zhonya's and try and drop down his ult, but if you kill him quick enough, he can't do that. And again, like, if you isolate Rumble, he's kind of, because he's not a tank, because he's not tanky at all. He builds, like, full AP.
No, of course not.
He gets fucked. Like, he's a melee AP carry. Like, it's quite an awkward thing to play, really. You need to be really smart with Rumble in a team fight. And you need to, like, whatever. And then you knock the Varus into your team, or you knock the Cogmore. Like, all 3 of those get fucked when you knock them in. And then at that point, it's just a 4v5, and it's just a quick clean sweep because you've only used 1 ult to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely questionable picking in the 2 games they lost.
Scores Gragas in this game was pretty impressive. Like, pretty tasty.
Considering his Elise play, yeah, he definitely turned it. He started turning it on the series.
Yeah, I felt like saying to him, like, why don't you pick Gragas before? Like, what's going on with them, man? That mate, like, it's not like
Gotta play the OP Elise.
Yeah.
It's not like Lee, Hojin is some kind of fucking legendary Elise player. Like, just pick
that's
fucking
definitely true. At least that's very strong. It's right.
So now we move back to a Ku win, where Ku starts off with the Zir, Riven, Shen bans. So the Shen can't fall through every time in their bans. And KT goes back to the pretty much what they were banned since Game 1 of Kalista Lulu Rise.
Yeah.
And they were both second and fourth game when they were on the red side.
Yeah. This time they first picked the Sivir this game, right?
Yeah.
No, it was Fizz first pick.
Oh.
Then Braum, Rek'Sai, Gragas, Kennen for Ku, Maokai Sivir for KT, and then Vayne, Victor, Ku. And then KT picked Ahri, which was not a solid champion. That's not a great Ahri play from Nagne.
I don't mind Ari that much, but Victor really fucking wins that series. I mean, that matchup, and then it was already tunneled with the Sivir, so you have such a lack of damage to the whole comp. You have a tank in the top lane, an Ahri, which is really reliant on ult to do any consistent damage in team fight, and a Sivir. Like, she does damage. She definitely does a lot of AoE damage, but she doesn't do enough. Like, she doesn't have burst damage. She killing tanks is a pain.
Yeah, I think Sivir's kind of really worthless on this patch as well.
Well,
Like,
she was falling out of favor even before the huge nerf, and all the nerf. The biggest issue with the nerf was that you can't flank as well without home guard, without a full home guard engage. You can't flank with Sivir as easily as you could.
Sivir's really fun engaging with a 5-man team grouped already.
And when you pick Maokai into Fizz, you're already fucking yourself.
Yeah. This was.
Like, Maokai was never able to get truly relevant enough in this game to fully tank.
Like, the only way this comp works is if you get, like... But that's also a problem with the Sivir nerfs, is, like, if you get, like, a lot of fucking ahead with teleporting to the bot lane and just using Sivir constantly to get picks, and with Ahri, which is a great champion to get picks with as well. But yeah, that doesn't really work that well anymore when Sivir got nerfed, and just in general, the moment you get behind with this comp, you're not gonna do much against Victor and I don't know, and yeah, it was pain and stuff. They have so much more damage, and you could just get outscaled like super fast.
Kuro kind of dunked on Nagane in this game as well. Is it like that moment where he like got ganked and then like managed to kill Kuro anyway? Like I was like, oh wow, you got fucking wrecked there, mate, didn't you? Like fucking shit.
Victor, yeah. Victor against.
Yeah, Kuro came in greedy, tried to pick up the last hit. Also in team fights, holy crap, Hojin was able to constantly explosive cast people into Gorilla's ult and make it really easy for Gorilla to get off clutch ults.
Yeah, Gorilla in another great cannon game again. Holy shit. Should really try and give it him a lot more. Holy. So it was banned a lot before, but not in this series.
Well, it's a pretty dangerous pick to pick without Kalista, because it's really hard to get the ult off when you're a support and you can get blown up real quick.
Yeah, it's like the Kennen support pick is definitely like risky. Like Gorilla really makes that shit work. Like, it's a premier. Like in this, like when Gorilla's on his Kennen, like that's where he looks like that kind of S+ tier Kesper, like elite level support. You know what I mean? Like one of the greatest supports to play the game is when you see him on that Kennen. He's so good at it. Like he understands almost everything. The scenarios he creates, like the way he uses the ultimate, like his skill set, uses the laning with it. It's all fucking great, but he can't just bust it out whenever. That's why he's only played like 3 times because it's such a niche pick. Like can't just. It's not Thresh. Like can't just pick it into anything and hope for the best. Like it's it's a niche as fuck pick. So yeah, it was.
He also really went early into the banner of command and got rid of his gold per 10 item, like his gold generating item, and then as soon as they started taking off, was able to pick up Zanya's. But it was very interesting to see him pick up the defensive stats in the Sightstone and the banner really quickly for himself in order to make sure he can actually
survive his ult,
get into the fight, and get the ultimate to do something. But it was also. What did you guys think about KT? Because they were clearly running a pick comp and they failed horribly multiple times to get picks, or over pursue for picks, and then get completely turned around. Like that was the biggest thing, was that they were. It was not reminiscent of Game 1, but holy crap, they were going ham way too much.
Yeah.
Like, it's too hard with the several nerfs to still do that stuff. Like definitely the way they did it, and it was way too forced and too clunky. And they fucked it up a lot, and it doesn't help when you're losing mid lane as well.
Felt there was a point where like Arrow was on Sivir, and then like he tried to pop his ult, and he's like, wait a minute, that ult wasn't very good. Why did that ult not work very well? They like read the ult and was like, oh, what happened to Sivir? Hey guys, what happened to Sivir's ult? Like, you not read the patch notes? Like, no, why would I read patch notes? Well, I got a fucking team of coaches for that. Like, when we said, do you think you can make Sivir work? And you went, yeah, definitely, mate. It's Sivir. What the fuck are you talking about? It's OP as shit. And then, like, we thought you'd read the patch notes and you practiced with it. You're really confident with it. Well, like, fucking, I guess this game's over then, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it was definitely like they didn't seem very adept to the new way. Plus a comp. Like their first pick attempt on bot lane was really bad. Like how long Prey survived, but just keep tumbling away, and then they got collapsed. That was disgusting.
That was the other part as well. Like The reason you didn't pick Sivir before was or the reason Sivir was falling out of favour was because of the Lucian and Vayne picks into it. So you were worried that you were going to get dunked 1v1 by one of those champions. Lucian would either wreck your fucking day and make you absolutely useless, or Vayne would just do well against you and then carry the fuck out of the entire game because she's a hyper carry. That's why people stopped playing Sivir. And in this game, but you pick the Sivir, you leave the Vayne and the Lucian open,
Yeah, no, it was I don't know. Kitty tried something really old, from months ago. It just now doesn't work, and definitely not the way they picked it into everything, with Victor open and then Vayne open. So fucking bad.
Also, I really disagree with picking because I like Braum as a support, and I think it's a really good support. Again, but I think it's a niche pick that's being overrated by certain teams. So, what was Braum really going to block in this game? What was he going to put up a shield and block?
I think he can block
Victor
that way. Yeah, that way you can actually block it.
But everyone else could just get over it and block.
I think his Braum is fine, but I don't see why you run Braum necessarily with a pick up like that has to run.
I don't get why. Yeah, Braum Sivir is dumb. Maybe Braum Annie.
Yeah,
at least so you can
Sivir
get that
Annie,
small initial burst of
Annie.
speed and then flash and ult someone, so you can have that lockdown, so Sivir can follow, so your team can follow up. But Braum Sivir is not a lane I was expecting.
Weird as lane comp that is actually not very strong together. Braumers would go well with a good amount of AD carries, but not with Sivir, even if it's against Vayne, which I think Vayne's annoying to play against Braum. But you had Gorilla ready with Ken, so no, it was just a weirdest way to do it. You'd rather have Annie, it's so much better for Engage, or Alistar maybe as well. Braum pick here was not great. Also, you're not dealing with poke per se at all, you're just dealing with a normal comp that just out team fights you. So yeah, the Braum pick was indeed not great at all.
Yeah, I mean, I know for a lot of years here, it just sounds like we just harp on about draft phase and stuff like that. But that's because a series of this level is often the draft phase is a really important and in so many games it just felt
one team left.
Well, if you look at game one, the draft phase, Ku is very ambiguous with the Lulu and the Rise, and that was what really helped them with the win. They were able to snowball off that. Game two, does Smeb pick into Fizz? Yeah. Rumble picked into Fizz, and that was the Fizz was able to get. I mean, there was a lot more than that. Game two was kind of a shit show at the point where KT started to team fight with the terrible team fighting comp, but they were originally able to get their advantage off of Fizz doing well against Rumble.
Yeah, and the fighting.
And then you have game three where you pick. We talked about game three where you have the issue of immobile carries versus a team that can move your carries to disadvantageous positions.
Yeah. So
now we have game four again where you're picking a pick comp and you pick a Maokai into Smeb's Fizz and you get shit on. And you have the team able to team fight you when you're trying to make picks and overcommit, and then you have this an awkward combination of Sivir Braum. It doesn't really work as well as Peekaboo's played Annie. Annie is a huge pick in Korea still.
Probably even.
And my other problem as well is KT could have possibly won this game if they'd understood their win conditions better and not got kind of stomped in the mid game as bad as they did. But the reason they got stomped as bad in the mid game is because they failed to execute on their win conditions and failed to play KT Rolster should. In this series, even though it was a really good series and it was really high level and stuff like that, I still feel like both teams played below the level that I know they can play at, and I still felt like neither team showed up to I felt like if either one of these teams came in with it would have been a 3-0 in one of their favours kind of thing based on how the other team played. I think this was more one team fucking up than the other team kind of smashing it. Really,
Yeah.
One team played well, the other team kind of fell off. Other team plays well, team falls off. There was a lot of adaptation, and there was it was a smart series. It's Korea. What do you expect? We're going to be Korea's a pretty smart region generally, and it's probably the smartest region in this game. Sorry, North America. CLG aren't a smart team, but
CLG is
comparatively speaking, yeah, sure. But I just feel teams could have played teams could have played better. So it was just a little bit disappointing in certain areas. That's all for me personally. I don't know if that mirrors the thoughts of the panel or whatever.
Like it was good, but yeah, you see like a bit still like last year. This series would have been way like it's just like the drop of a bit of Korea, and then this series was not. It was good. It was really good, but it was still like you had mistakes from both teams that were so obviously, which is also why I don't think either winner would have been a real big threat for SKT, which I still don't think, because I don't think SKT is gonna.
If they can
be way better against.
If they can, if one of these teams can play to the level I know they can play at, or they can play how they did in their, if KT can play how they did in their wins and execute their win conditions, like because the wins they had, they looked pretty good. Like I definitely think both teams deserve the wins they get.
SKT is gonna draft that. I mean, I don't think SKT is gonna pick Mar and Constantine a bad matchup and then let them lane against Someday, because they know Someday's gonna fucking wreck Mar.
Yeah, so you make sure you get the good draft phase, and then we'll get into that later. That's a teaser for later on. Put it to the back of your mind, lads.
As we move into Game 5, we have the wonderful Lulu. And how was it with 20 minutes of absolutely nothing, of just wave clear?
Yeah, no, and top lane, yeah, that was pretty much it.
Lulu's combined score, both of them combined, was 0, 1, and 5. But they murdered a lot of minions.
God, all those poor minions.
Almost 600 combined. That was a lot. Almost 100 plus 100 plus minions per assist or death. That was so funny to see both of them pick. Like, of all of the mirror matches possible that you could think of, it is Lulu.
I really want to speak to the coaches and work out why they both decided like on the Lulu top. Like,
it was weird a bit. It's like,
I mean, the first thing I want to do is I want to sit down with the Coup Tigers coaches and go, so why was it you went for the Juggernaut and blind?
Yeah.
Like, why when you can have anything you want, you go Juggernaut? Like, really? Like, for me, Juggernaut is a situational team comp dependent on certain.
You really want to see the enemy's first 3 or 4 picks before you really lock that in.
Yeah, but in this game, you were just like, nope, Juggernaut, don't care any. Like, the KT can pick whatever they want. Juggernaut will get us there. Like, really?
They even went like there was.
And then you have the issue of triple Quicksilver Sash.
So, this is something that was discussed a lot, and it was like, I understand why Coup Tigers picked as many. Or built as many QSS as they did, but I think that when you run, like they kind of had no choice. But that just shows how bad their blind pick composition was. Like when your only option is to play as much like
QSS,
as much QSS as you did. Like it was like because like what did Coup Tigers? I mean, what did KT like pick? They just picked a fucking they picked Leona, Ashe, Elise.
Yeah, blind pick comp. That's it. It's just smart pick comps that are for blind pick.
I still don't get the Ashe Leona is so risky because if you get 2v2'd, you're fucked because you need the Leona to roam to be relevant.
I was like, just get the Braum, but no, they went for Leona again. It worked out, luckily, but yeah, you don't want to do that.
It did because Peekaboo just was like, fuck you, Arrow, I'm abandoning you and going elsewhere.
Yeah.
But that was, was good.
You either have to make the decision or you need the lane swap because the Leona Ashe lane is so vulnerable early.
Would have preferred to see Thresh from Peekaboo in this game over Leona, I think.
Nice.
In the blind pick.
Do you think they may have picked Leona because they thought the Coup Tigers would pick Yasuo and Leona can still stun people over
the wind wall?
I was expecting Coup Tigers to go for that that Malphite, Yasuo, Alistair
kind of thing.
I think that's why. I think KT was also expecting that. That's why I think that's kind of why they went with what they did.
Yeah.
With
but
Lulu,
then I still don't know why you
have the defensive and safeness, and you can kind of push in Malphite because you have the range and harass. But
yeah,
I think even the Lulu would have worked if you want that kind of ultra knock-up kind of comp because Yasuo dives into the enemy team, then he gets Lulu ulted, and then he just ults everyone. It's like game over. But
I still think you want Nautilus or Malphite for that because at least that's someone who can get in, or Maokai. They can TP and just get into the fight and make sure it's there. Where Lulu's like, I can kind of hit it as long as someone else gets there.
And the problem with the Lulu pick as well is because like like a Lulu TPing into bot lane is not really that terrifying for the bot lane.
Well, yeah, they
Like
both.
especially when your bot lane is Ashe Leona, who can like just a pretty kind of a safe bot lane anyway. Like especially from ganks anyway. They're not safe from getting murdered by like Kalista Kennen or whatever, but they are safe from
I guess
getting ganked.
Well, you have a Lulu teleporting into a Kog'Maw Janna lane, so you have a lot of disruption.
Yeah.
And that's really great to be like, oh, you want to try and kill us? I'm going to have Lulu TP and no chance you can kill us, but you also have no threat.
Yeah.
That's little.
There were, like the Ku-Tiger's threat in this game was the Kog'Maw and
Kog'Maw and Victor. You know,
the Kog'Maw and
they were
Victor.
doing it like
The
the
second
old school
Victor
Juggernaut.
purchased QSS, he was no longer a threat.
Yeah.
That was
Like, at that point, like Ku were going for some kind of ultra turtle kind of safe shit, but their win conditions were almost nothing at that point.
My issue with them trying to turtle is turtling is fine in this situation, but when you're playing when you have a top laner with TP versus a top laner with TP, and they're the same fucking champion, and that champion falls behind it all, you're done. You can't. As soon as they fall behind, one is going to eventually win, and even if it takes 5 to 10 minutes to get that one turret, you can still sit there and take that one turret as your other 4 people run around and pressure everything else. Because the second you TP out, if one team can disengage and the Lulu, but they kept trying to make picks with Lulu, and you can't really do that unless you hit a slow and you can really, really follow it up right after the slow hits.
Yeah, it was really weird blind pick. Like the good thing about blind pick is in Korea is because you only see it in Korea because it doesn't happen at Worlds, doesn't happen in any other region, whatnot. Like it's something completely unique. Like it only really matters how you blind pick draft in Korea. So like poor blind picks like don't really worry me for this idea of Korean teams playing internationally because it won't ever come up. So I kind of like when it goes to blind pick like. Not whatever, like I mean, it's good for the fans. It's an entertaining thing. It's enjoyable and whatnot. But it doesn't fill me with worry about the state of a team.
I don't think it doesn't worry me, but it was exciting to see. It's exciting to see blind pick because at least it gives the balance to both sides of it.
Yeah, like there were so many more compositions I wanted to see in this blind pick. Like this blind pick was so disappointing, like cinematically speaking. Like as a viewer, it wasn't an entertaining blind pick game, whereas it could have been like fucking gone off. Like, I mean, I was expecting Kuro to pick Victor, but then I also wanted to pick Yasuo. Maybe the reason he didn't pick Yasuo is because he was worried about the Yasuo into Azir matchup. Now that seems pretty logical to me.
He did against CJ, man. No, against Najin, like he didn't bother. They went.
Yeah, but there's a bit of a difference between Goom's Azir and Nagane's Azir.
Okay, yeah, sure, that's true.
And then you also like you've got, but like there could have been so many more like champions. But I don't understand why it was double Lulu, and I don't understand why Ku-Tiger went with the with the Juggernaut.
Cool, I had Lulu anyway.
I can understand the Lulu from both sides. 'Cause obviously, Ku-Tiger's built the Juggernaut, regardless of whether. I think that was a bad decision, but with the Juggernaut, Lulu's great. And with what I think KT was assuming that it was going to be a Wombo combo coming in,
I think
and with a tanky top laner, you can really abuse that with Lulu. I mean, you could pick Riven, you could pick Zagastu top lane and abuse some top lane champions, some top lane tanks, but Lulu can abuse that and still be safe. Like you don't know which one you're gonna pick, so I could understand both of it, but I'm still beyond belief like. Why would you run a Juggernaut game 5 when you could literally pick any other prepared comp?
You've got to remember as well, like if Ku-Tigers won that game, locked in for Worlds. Not only are they locked in for Worlds, they have a chance to take the first seed. Now, first seed for a Korean team. Sorry about this, by the way, Reddit. First seed for a Korean team is not as important as it is for other regions because the only team that any Korean team is properly like shit scared afraid of is LGD. Which theoretically you dodge if you are the first seed, but it's like a 1 in 4 chance.
Theoretically, you dodge them.
Yeah, okay, you do dodge them, but it's like a 1 in 3 chance of dodging, dodging LGD anyway. So you'd have to be really unlucky to get LGD. Like, so and even if you do get in a situation where you get LGD, like you're going to beat the other teams in the group anyway. So you're going to get out of that group regardless. Like
you should, Because they're lower
So-
tier seeded. So.
Like first seed for a Korean team is not because I said this last year. What's the best part about being a Korean team of world? There's no other Korean team in your group.
These are-
Like it's true. At most you have one team that you're afraid of, which is a Chinese team. And I'm
Well-
sorry, but IG, QG, or EZG with how they've been playing recently, that's not like the world's biggest threat for a Korean team. Not at all. So you've got a choice of like H2K or like Origin.
Yeah, I would say,
Fnatic,
if you look at
CLT,
last
like-
year, even if you look at last year's World Championship, every Korean and Chinese team made it out of groups,
Yeah.
and it's not like they're like, oh man, we're really afraid of the the challenger. We're really afraid of the wildcard team. We're really afraid of Taiwanese teams. I think NAU should be afraid of Taiwanese teams. Chinese and Koreans are afraid of themselves and each other
Yeah, and it,
to a point.
the only time a Korean team's ever failed to get out of groups in first place was Samsung Ozone at Season 2 World Championships, where they just
And
kind
that
of
was-
imploded.
Yeah,
That is every other
yeah.
time a Korean team has got out of groups in first place, even going all the way back to Season 2, and every other team and every Chinese team always gets out of groups. So you're not, as a Korean team, you're not really worried if you get the first seed. Like the first seed's nice, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's just slightly easier group stage. Theoretically, it means you don't have to play versus fucking LGD. But that's it. Like, you can still get out of groups and play LGD, and you can still theoretically get out of groups in first place and play LGD. All you got to do is beat them once, and then just beat them again in like an LGD aren't like some kind of unkillable demon king or something. They're not even. I don't think they're that amazing. So, they're definitely not unbeatable. Sorry, I know Imp's really good, but like, I'm not afraid of TBQ. Come at me, boys. Like,
Well, yeah, no one's afraid of TBQ.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of Hojin either, or Bengi.
Yeah, it's not like Korea has to talk about journalists then.
It's like Korea's if these three we can get to that again, but if Ku, SKT, and KT Go score is the most fearsome jungler coming out of Korea.
Yeah, you can't.
yeah, that sounds okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sounds okay, man. First year swap from AD carry, holy shit. That's why Korea has to do it right now. Late
Yeah.
role swaps.
Dandy, come back, please.
Sorry, he's a top
Come back,
laner.
please.
Yeah.
Dandy has embraced the fact that he is going to be better than Insect in whatever Insect does. Like Insect shows up, does really well in the jungle in Korea. Then this guy Dandy shows up, is like, nah, I'm gonna just destroy you on all the champions you're good at.
Yeah.
And then Insect's like, I'm gonna take this cool cash ride to China, get some money in my pocket. And then Danny shows up and puts him in the ground
Gets
again.
more
And he's like,
cash.
okay,
Because-
I'm gonna go top lane now. I'll go top lane. And then Danny's like, hey, Insect. How you like playing top? I'm gonna put you in the grave again there.
Yeah, don't stop this.
Yeah. Oh dear. But to go back to this game, it was good to see like the Ashe pick kind of, because I think that Korea is the only region that's playing Ashe like well, and it's using it properly. And I think it's kind of cool that it's become like a bit of a flair pick for the whole region, because now we've seen Arrow, Prey, OQ, and
Fury.
Fury all play Ashe, and what, I wouldn't surprise me if Bang can play Ashe as well by the time that
Yeah.
in the final. I think you'll probably see at least one Ashe pick from
I
SKT
think
at some point.
Bang's trying too hard to get people to ban Vayne against him.
Well, yeah. It's not like I was an amazing thing.
I'm just surprised they're playing Ashe now when she was banned. Like when she's weaker than she was before. But I mean, it fits better the meta. Sivir's kind of fallen out, so you can play Ashe, who's a lot more
It's more of a
safer.
Sivir just
Not
runs
safer,
over.
but I'd say consistent, where you can really kind of just
It's just like
not
if
have
you
to do too much.
it's like if you want a utility ADC that can engage, like Ashe has now taken over what Sivir used to do. I think
In a
that's
way.
the best way I can explain it. Really, like an AD carry who does a surprising amount of damage, but is like mostly there for the utility and the ability to engage. Like that was like what was previously Sivir is now Ashe. Like, that's the best way I have of explaining like this kind of Sivir
Yeah.
hype we're seeing. I mean, these Ashe hype we're seeing in Korea. Sorry.
It also allows you to play less engaged supports
Yeah,
because she gives you engage. So I mean, it's a nice trade-off too.
but then you're blind picking with Leona, so
Oh my god.
I still don't get that. I mean, actually, because KT, if Ku had played the same comp against Najin as they did against Najin, they would have lost KT, because that comp fucked over OQ and I'm pure so hard because with the wind wall and Braum shield and stuff.
If you ever want a demonstration for how like bizarro the meta is right now, is in this blind pick game, 9 unique champions were picked. The only mirror match we saw was Lulu versus Lulu. In previous blind picks, we've seen like Zed versus Zed, Shen versus Shen, like Lee Sin versus Lee Sin.
I'm a bit surprised no Shen, to be honest.
LeBlanc versus LeBlanc. We've seen all kind. We've seen a lot of.
The best one was the Lee Sin, Alistair. Like the KT blue one was the best. There were 6 champions were the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I'll never get over that Najin Shield versus KT Bullets blind pick game where like it was Lee Sin versus Lee Sin and LeBlanc versus LeBlanc and everyone was just like pew, 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 all over the map. Like, but
oh my god, yeah, that was reminiscing the play. What teams were they?
KT Bullets and Najin White Shield.
Yeah, White Shield. LeBlanc came in and had like sacrificed herself, but to force the other to not have double buffs.
Oh
That blew him up. That's what I mean. Like, there's been so many amazing blind pick games that'll stay with us forever. Like that amazing Zed versus Zed outplay in season 3 summer, and then the incredible like LeBlanc outplay onto Ryu's LeBlanc by Goon, where he's like. Ryu's got a double buff. I need to kill him now. Boom! I killed him. Like I died for it, but I've killed him. Sure. So I've managed to get my team back into this game after Watch just fucked it up so hard. And like the great bit as well, where like both Lee Sins in that game, where like both kicked each other away at the exact same time.
They both queued and R'd each other. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, all right, we're back to square one then. Right, but there was none of that because there wasn't the. But neither team comp was particularly great, and
I think KT had a solid comp. Like it had everything you wanted, and the Lulu was there as protection. They just didn't want to get fucked over again by too much wombo, so they wanted a safe top laner who could play defensive for them.
Yeah, but I mean, for example, I would have rather seen Score on Gragas over Elise in his blind pick because he didn't play Elise well in game 1 or game 2. I don't think he played Elise particularly well in this game either. I just think he just played it on autopilot. And like the Nagane on Azir, that makes sense. Like Azir is probably the best mid laner. Well, is the best mid laner in the game right now. And like there were some predictable ones from the Ku Tigers as well, like Victor being blind picked by Kuro. Like again, because he can't pick Azir, because he can't pick Yasuo into Nagane's Azir, likely. He's got to go with the safer Victor, which is a decent matchup, I think. Anyway, if the Victor's good enough.
Yeah, it's decent because you're on wave there, decent.
But then like Prey default into the Kog'Maw, a pick that he'd already lost twice with. Like, why didn't he pick Ashe in that sense?
Yeah,
why didn't he
they
pick
wanted trigger him off so badly, and I don't agree with that at all.
I was really expecting Ashe.
Yes.
Yeah. And then like Hojin playing Rek'Sai, like aside from the fact that he entirely like gave any win condition KT and Ku Tigers had straight to KT, like he handed that game on a silver platter when he got caught. Like I would have said if there was one substitution that should have been made, should have been like in the blind pick game, just sub in Wisdom, just go for broke there, like sub him in and see just completely mess with the KT, like but mess with KT, but
yeah.
Whatever. I don't know. For anyone who's watching, it was a good series. This was a good series, and it demonstrated a lot of good things about Korea. But it felt more like one team fucking up than the other team kind of making the play and kind of playing well. And I think that both teams had games where they played well. Both teams had games where they played badly as well, which was really disparaging to see. And you can get away with those bad games in regular season, but when Ku Tigers had such a good player from before, up until this point, they played at a level below the level they played against CJ at, just in terms of their draft and their understanding of win conditions and their ability to build a foundation which you can like construct a win off was just limited. And KT didn't play like we've seen KT play in the past. When they originally got in Peekaboo, what made them great was you sent Peekaboo into the enemy jungle, they warded the fuck out of it, and then because KT was so quick to respond, they would win the fights in your own jungle, and at that point it's game over. And
A couple of times, but I think this show what we said before last time. Cool is KT's not so easily to outpick Ben as CJ was, so like they kind of had much trouble, and then they kind of outpicked Ben themselves. Cool, like definitely game 3.
yeah, they really mind gamed themselves, I think.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, KT also just didn't care about KT's pick that much, except against what they lost in game 1. So yeah. KT had more.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about the series? Who is the MVP of the series for everyone?
You summed it up pretty well.
Uh,
Lulu.
I think Sunday. Wait, let me think. Games.
I think Lulu was the MVP.
Can't pick a champion, man.
Lulu had a 100% win rate in that series, so
That's true.
Unlike other regions,
Well,
where she
you
has
can't have what is that 100?
0.
Yeah. Is it 100% if it's a blind pick and a boy play Lulu? One lost though, so. No, I don't. I think like pick
I don't know.
a
I'd say Sunday or score.
Score? Yeah.
I'm more inclined to go with Sunday, I think.
Yeah, I
I
think.
mean, he really carried it, but Score did play well, and when they won,
Yeah,
I mean, he
That's
had
true.
a really bad game 1, but
Nah, Sunday as well. There was a lot of team effort there, more than so much individual play.
I want to say Peekaboo is the overall MVP of the series because I think he's the only player who didn't really drop the ball in any game and didn't like. But part of that I think is the picks.
they did win with Janna, even though he got Magi's and died twice.
That game too, no.
But if you pick Janna, no. But why else would you pick Janna other than to build Majias? Like, and surely the only reason to pick Janna is to build Majias.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
It's a good.
Well, I don't want. This episode's already almost an hour 10 minutes. So let's do some quick thoughts on SKT
Yeah.
versus KT.
I mean, I said it.
So I believe Sam is gonna think KT, so he can be.
No,
His-
no.
Oh,
No.
Sam.
You're even rooting against your own.
No. I'm not rooting. I'm not. Well, see, this is the problem. See, I like Ku Tigers more than I like KT, but I am also of a higher mind as to want the better teams to go to Worlds. I also think that if Ku Tigers end up in the Gauntlet, they'll guaranteed win the Gauntlet. If KT end up in the Gauntlet, I don't think they can necessarily defeat the massive power that is Najin.
So KT beats Cool, but
Wait.
KT can beat the rest. Cool can beat the rest.
No, KT are a
You
better
said-
team. KT, I
You
think
said you think the best 3 teams are gonna make it to Worlds, and yet you still are holding out hope for Najin.
Oh yeah, 100%. But well, okay, so there's methods to this madness. See,
No,
what-
Najin to this madness.
I know for a lot of people, I might seem like a mentally deranged or slightly strange person, or
You are.
you know, capable of like weird thought patterns. But let's try and explain this. Try and explain this like this mirror. You know the original Yu-Gi-Oh anime where like the guy with the turban goes through Yugi's mind.
Yeah,
and he's got
I
like
do.
one side where it's like Yugi's playing with toys, and then the other side, like the Pharaoh, it's like a dark maze. Like that's kind of like what my mind is.
So
But
you have split personalities. That's
well, I just spend ages pretending to be a girl. Like
okay. Actually, that makes sense. I know.
But let's try and break this down. So, if SKT win this final, then Ku Tigers go to Worlds.
Yes, we know.
I don't think that if Najin managed to find the right form, which they've done historically, again 2 out of 2 times they've been in that gauntlet, they've won that gauntlet, they've ran the entire goddamn thing.
Shit, man.
No team has ever ran the gauntlet except for Najin, who's ran the entire gauntlet. Like,
Yeah.
so, game also like I think there's just a part of me that's just like, please play it, put it tag, just please, just do it for the gauntlet, like just sub him in. Like anyway, so
Well, yeah, that would be good.
final result happens. I think SKT beat KT 3 games to 1. So this means that Ku Tigers automatically qualify for Worlds in the 2nd seed, a seed that I think befits their overall year performance. I think that over the year, I would think it was safe to say that Ku Tigers probably been the 2nd best Korean team. If you're talking consistent form throughout the year, maybe you could argue that, well, KT didn't even make the first season playoffs, so I don't even think you could argue. Like they've had an up spike when they've added Peekaboo, but I think that's more of a late burner, which is why they're in the position they're in.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
this puts KT into the gauntlet. Now, I think
First
that
seed.
Najin, if they beat Jin Air hard enough, they can then get more of a confidence boost against CJ, because CJ is shit, let's be honest.
But I think they can beat CJ already. Like that doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get to the final where, I'm sorry, yeah, okay, my boy OQ, like, I tell you, Arrow played well in this series, but he's still shit, okay? So
I don't disagree with that. I mean,
OQ is going to get a fucking rusty spike and shove it so far up Arrow's ass that the guy can't sit down for the rest of his life. Like, it's going to be a bloodbath from Najin. So, like, I think that if KT fall into the gauntlet, that Najin will win. Now, I think if Ku fall into the gauntlet, that they will defeat Najin, because I just think that... But it will be like Najin versus Najin. Like, the only thing that Najin can't beat in the gauntlet is themselves. Like, that's the kind of... That's the logic right
They
there.
will beat themselves.
I think your issue with this, your logical fallacy, is that the patch isn't changing. They're not playing on a new patch. They're playing on the patch that
5.5.
Goong is still hot garbage on.
No.
Because he can play one champion.
Well, first off, there's LeBlanc buffs on the next patch.
No, that's
They're
16.
not playing on the next
They're
patch.
not playing on 16, man.
Playing 5.15. They're not playing
Oh,
5.16.
okay.
No, Goong
Oh, well,
is fine.
either way,
Goong
they're
is
going to
fine.
sub in tank, and it'll all be fine.
Okay, that's the only way actually Najin through Gauntlet is actually sub and tank. That's the only way. But I'm still not convinced they're smart enough to figure that out themselves.
So,
That's the only way I will give you that, but not with Goong. No way.
but I will say that the three teams I want to see at Worlds are, well, SKT. I don't have a choice about seeing SKT
Yeah.
anymore. So you know what,
Hey,
like,
if you want the best team, you send SKT, man.
so the three teams I want to see at Worlds, the two teams I want to see left at Worlds are G Tigers and Najin. So I actually want SKT to win this series, but this is the problem where you bet yourself into a hole, because I bet very early on, very early on.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't have the same information I have now. I'm an emotional guy. People might agree with that. I don't know. Some people think I'm like quite emotionally, solid.
Split personalities.
Yeah, I just kind of was like, you know what? I don't think SKT are going to win this split. I think that any other team will beat this split. In some way, someone argue, I've got a 9 out of 10 chance of winning this bet. Like, no, we've ended up in a weird, dark, twisted reality where SKT are still the best team in Korea. But so a part of me wants to see KT win this final. That means that it becomes Najin on Najin, and then I'm guaranteed to get at least one Najin team at Worlds. But I'm still hoping for 2. So I'll quite happily call Peter king for a year if it means I get to see both Najin teams play at Worlds. That's really it.
So basically, your world's dream is, well, SKT's already locked in, so I guess I have to accept them. And I hear there's 2 teams that are full of Najin players. Let's take them.
Yeah.
Alright, what a surprise. Someone's Najin to go to Worlds. All the Najin players.
And now Najin are the only team that survived the sister team rule and managed to keep their second team. So
Of course.
they only had to accept dirty Chinese money to do it. So when are Najin going to get one of these sponsorships from like a Chinese streaming corp? Like Longzhu, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I am not really doing much with your money. Send it to Najin. They could do those.
They should have gotten Mersk. It would have stayed relevant with what Najin does.
Mersk?
Najin does shipping containers. Mersk is a shipping container company.
Oh, okay, fair
Okay,
enough.
never mind. This is my interest.
That's a low as esports joke.
Okay.
Not an esports joke.
Yeah, I know exactly. That's the point. We don't get it.
Okay. So, yeah. So I like, but as a fan of the entire career except CJ enters, I would just like to see the best teams. So whatever the matches will be, I will accept them and I will cheer for all Korean teams at Worlds, because I think that this is still the best league in the world. I know there's not a lot of evidence, but I'm like, you know what? Fuck China. I'm not accepting the LPL is a better league. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Would you accept that the LSPL is a better league?
The what?
The LS, it's a joke. It's a
Oh, I see.
good old Chinese joke.
Oh, okay.
I did that.
But
Yeah.
I don't even follow that trash region. Fucking what's the LSPL? Fuck if I know. So they just take Korean players and throw them on the bench. Anyway, so I'm gunning for double Najin at Worlds. I'm gunning for it. It's never happened before, but it could happen now. This is the only time it genuinely could happen. Is double Najin at Worlds. So
Yeah, because there are no sister teams for the other teams, so
yeah, exactly.
to stop them.
There's no I'm trying to think what happened in season 3. Fucking Knights and Shield was shit, so they couldn't make it better. Still had like Loco Doco half the fucking split. Then they replaced it with Zephyr. That's an upgrade.
It was, but I'm not.
It was. So don't even pretend it wasn't.
Let's just as a side note, Loco Doco. So bad that Zephyr was an upgrade over you. Let's just put that. Why is no one bringing that out as a bird? That'd be my bird all the time if I met Loco Doco. Then season 4, it can't happen because
Sword was super inconsistent. Like they did nothing in the regular season, and then
the winter spring Nudge and Sword ended up in a fist fight, so they kind of like ultimately disbanded. And then the summer Nudge and Sword well, it had a lot of talent, just was too new to make it really, and had a really unlucky series against SKTS. So, what are you going to do? So this is the first time it genuinely could happen. So I just need SKT to win, and then I get double Nudging at Worlds, because Nudging are running that gauntlet, baby.
You know what would be more impressive is if IM wasn't a bad team and they were able to get IM number 2, and Zombie IM.
Holy shit. Yeah, no, I actually think it's going to be...
Zombie IM are still a team, by the way. They're still a team.
Oh, yeah.
There's still MKZ in...
They are. Wow.
They lost to Narcal's team, didn't they?
Yeah, well, Dark Wolves are the best Korean Challenger team. So Kyle is the best mid laner in Korean Challenger. I know, right? Weird shit is happening.
I don't know. Tank. I hear Tank plays in a Korean Challenger League.
No, he plays in the Reserve League. I wrote an article about why the Korean Reserve League is shit. Go read it. It's a good article.
I did read it. It was good.
I was talking to the viewers, all 7 of them. Plug it. I need that traffic. I've got hamsters to feed here.
Need those sweet pennies.
Exactly.
Well, I'm talking about next week. Oh, well, yeah, this week, I guess. I'd actually think cool. I mean, I think SKT is going to trio. Like I said, like it's also my only hope for Korea to win Worlds, because I don't think Korea is going to win Worlds if SKT has problems with KT right now.
Get off this show.
If they have problems, I firmly believe they will trio KT, because they'll just they've seen already weaknesses that Ku could exploit, and they'll just win, easily beat them trio. Because they have not much on them. Like some days a bit better than Martin, sure, but Martin knows how to play with the team perfectly fine. But
some days a lot better than Martin, I would say. But
yeah, but like just purely for team fighting, it's not that relevant.
The question is, can SKT make sure Martin doesn't do stupid things and just plays the defensive?
That's always a question with SKT. That's the problem. I think they'll be fine with that. They can, and Bengi and Wolf can keep scoring pickable. Like they're worse in a way, in a sense, but they're also they've done it a lot longer, keeping. Like,
KT's win conditions in this game are that somehow Peekaboo is able to win both bot and mid lane for KT. He has to win it 3 times.
Yes.
He has to win 2 lanes simultaneously 3 times in a row. That's how KT win this game.
Well,
so
Wolf is just as good as keeping mid lane happy and feeding Faker. So
like
they don't even have the Peekaboo advantage, in my opinion, because Wolf does the same thing constantly for Faker.
Yeah, but Peekaboo's a lot better than Wolf, so he doesn't choke when he plays internationally, does he?
That's
never going to forget how you lost MSI for Korea. By the way,
Wolf is partly, but I'd mostly blame Koma for not putting in Faker 5 games, and it would have easily.
Oh yeah.
Would have easily beat Nidachi. Easily.
Basically, everyone but Faker was responsible for why SKT didn't win that match, including EasyHoon. You're shit, EasyHoon. Yeah. Get out.
Yeah. No, actually.
So, who do you think is going to win Pinata?
I think that's pretty obvious. Oh, win? I'm hoping for KT, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be SKT. I give KT a game.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a 3-0. I think this would be 3-1 to SKT. I think that's the logic.
I'd be very surprised if it gets to game 5.
Yeah.
I'd be very surprised.
I know.
If it gets to game 5, who knows? But
well, yeah.
Yeah. Because
that's kind of how game 5 works.
So bad in blind pick the last 2 years.
If you pick yourself into a hole in multiple lanes, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah,
there's really no excuse for fucking up a blind pick when you think about it as well, because you know exactly what you're gonna pick. Like you pick your entire team composition as one. It's not like when you draft and you go, "Ooh, actually we picked a bunch of champions. We have no actual way of putting anything with these championships. You know exactly what you're picking at the like. You should pick it all at once. So you really shouldn't ever fuck up a blind pick in the sense of build yourself a bad composition. Looking at you, Najin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty shit to be honest.
But for the 3 teams, I think it's going to be KT, Ku, SKT.
Yeah.
And Najin really has to surprise me against Jinair and
Tank.
CJ for me to give a shit about them.
I'm
sorry, but
CJ and Najin can, but they need subs. They need to use their subs. At least part of their subs. Actually, I don't think
it's
CJ
on the
can.
same. It's on the same. They're in the same patch though, and unless like
Yeah, but Tank is much
Goom-
better than Goom on this patch.
Tank
I
is just
understand,
a better
like if
player.
Goom shows up, I don't think they're gonna make it.
Goom hasn't showed up since 1995, mate. Like, he's not going to show up tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, whatever this gauntlet is.
Is he even alive? Well, he had to have been alive then.
Oh, I was born in 1992, mate, so I was definitely
Yeah, he's
alive
older
then.
than me.
No,
Pretty
I
sure.
meant him.
Oh,
I think he's older than me, so yeah.
don't know. But anyway,
That's not a good sign. He's the new Zephyr.
trust me, if CLG can win NALCS, then Najin can manage to put the correct
but
two
CLG
players in.
Shit,
He was 93.
expected. Oh wow, yes, he's old. No, KT
22 is not
is
old.
fine in the thing. They also have like a whole gauntlet to look who's gonna come and try to beat him and just outdraft him and win. KT is gonna be fine.
22 is very young.
So we're thinking 3-1 for KT. I mean, for SKT,
yeah.
sorry. SKT, best KT.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yep.
Except last
I
year.
would definitely put money. Well, okay, I don't put money on esports, but if I did put money on esports, I would put it on 3-1.
Yeah.
I think Peekaboo is good enough to get them to really. I think
Snowball
Peekaboo
game.
is good enough to keep Arrow and Kuro or Arrow and Nagne alive, and then they can win one game by
Top lane.
that and or Marin just feeding like a champ.
Yeah, that's always possible. I want that trio. I need to fucking see Martin and Wolf not fuck up the game in this entire series, and then I have good confidence in Worlds.
KT are going to take a game. Trust me, it'll be a good game. They'll take. They'll play well in that game. I think it's going to be an alright series. Like, I don't think it's going to be the best OGN final ever. Should be better than last season's final. That was shit. That was the most disappointing final ever.
I was
Like, who had the cool-
enjoyable
who spent
final,
long-
though.
Who spent longer
Oh,
preparing
yeah, last
composers
night.
than
Oh,
they did
yeah,
than
yeah, okay,
practicing?
I thought you
Well,
meant last
I mean-
year. Last year.
Oh no.
I'm
last
pretty
one
sure
was
that
horrible.
that final was like we knew it was going to be disappointing after
Yeah,
seeing
of
Ku's
course.
performance
that's
at
because
the
of the
IEM.
gauntlet. That's because of the format. The format fucked it up because the gauntlet way. Because even before, even if you were first in your group, you're bad. You're gonna get kicked out in quarters anyway, like or in semifinals. You were not ever gonna make finals if you're not good on that patch. Like that's the problem with this format with the gauntlet thing. If you don't have a bracket system with quarters and semis, yeah, you can slip up because you have so good regular season that you just then get kicked out. When even EU and NA have like at least a bracket system, so you can get kicked out in semis, even if you're
Yeah.
second or first place. You'll never get a final if you're bad. Well, except yes.
Yep.
Okay, let's just round up for that. This episode.
Should we save Gauntlet for when we talk about
Yeah, yeah.
SKT?
Yeah, we'll go
Next
into the gauntlet
episode,
more
nice.
depth then. We'll talk about why Najin are going to win it then.
of course.
So look forward to that, fans, or fan, whoever you are.
I think we have like
You
3
love
fans
this
or
show.
something.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. It's
Okay.
always a pleasure.